Hi everyone, this is Mahmoodul Hassan. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you all know, we have started the inbound receiving process in Warehouse Management D365. And in our today's video, we will discuss about Putaway clusters. So Putaway clusters offers a process in which we will put multiple license plates into a single or multiple designated locations in D365. Put-away clusters are very useful in retail businesses where license plates are not actually the full pallets of the inventory. To configure the put-away clusters in D365, the first step is to create the put-away cluster profile. If I go to the Advanced Warehouse Management module under Setup, Mobile Devices, and Cluster Profiles. Cluster profiles determine where a item will go when it receive in the inventory in D365. So to create a new cluster profile, set up the cluster profile ID, cluster profile name, cluster profile type. In our scenario, we are receiving the products, so cluster type will be put away, and type the sequence number as well. For the cluster assignment timing, select at receipt because the cluster will be assigned at the receiving of this process. The cluster assignment rule, select this as manual uh, because I don't want the system to create a cluster ID at the time of receiving automatically by the system. So I will assign the cluster profile when I receive the products on mobile application manually. Leave the directive code as blank. Put away cluster locate. Select this as receive. This determines uh, the location at the time of receiving of the put away cluster. Put away cluster per user field will determine whether the put away cluster ID will be generated as per user in the mobile application. In the customer cluster sorting fast tab, add the criteria for the cluster sorting and the cluster work template, add the purchase order type and work template. I have selected the DC purchase. If you don't know how to create the work template, watch my previous video on the work template IDs creation. If I go to the warehouse management under mobile device menu items, you can see that I have created the menu item receive and sort cluster. This will determine whether a work will be created for the cluster at the time of receiving, and the work creation process will be purchase order item receiving. And I have selected the generate license plate as well because I want the license plate to be generated at the time of receiving of the process. Assign cluster, a put away cluster will be toggled as yes because I need to assign the cluster ID at the time of receiving as well. The second menu item that I have created is the cluster put away. You can see that this cluster put away will use the existing work that is created by the previous menu item, and it will be directed by the cluster put away, and the work class ID will be purchase. If you don't know how to create the work class ID, watch my previous video on the work class IDs. Okay, so let's create a new purchase order to demonstrate our process. On the action pane, click on new, enter the vendor. Let's say Contoso Asia is my vendor. I will select my site and warehouse. All the way down, my warehouse will be main DC, that is advanced warehouse, and I will click OK to create a new purchase order. I will type in my product. And also enter my quantity. On the purchase order line first tab, click on add line. Type in the second product. Let's say the quantity is 15. I have used the two products because I will create two plates and group them into a single cluster ID. I will click on save and also confirm this purchase order. Click on OK. Now my purchase order is confirmed. I will go to the mobile application, assuming that my products are arrived in my receiving warehouse. Type my user ID and my password to sign in my warehouse mobile application. So we have created the two mobile menu items. I will click on receive and sort cluster that will receive my products on the receiving location and create the work. Scan my purchase ID, that is 000288. Scan my product. I will scan my first product, that is M10001. The quantity of this product was 10. I will review the values, the location, PO number, item, and quantity, and confirm. Okay, so system is asking about the cluster ID because my cluster ID was manual. Let's say I will type in the C0012 as the cluster ID and enter. I will scan my another product that was 10002. Quantity was 15. I will review the values and confirm. I will enter my cluster that was C0012. Okay, so my products are received on the receiving location and work is created. If I go to the rich client and on the purchase order, refresh my purchase order, on the purchase order line fast tab, click on warehouse, work details, filter my order number, remove the filter from work ID. You can see that two works are created with the two different license plates, and both of the works are in open status right now. If I go to my mobile application again to put my license plates grouped by the cluster ID, I will go to the cluster putaway menu item, scan the cluster ID that was C0012, enter. Okay, so before I receive the cluster ID, I need to close the cluster ID first in D365 Rich Client. For this, I will go to the warehouse management module under work, outbound, click on work clusters. I will copy the cluster ID as well and close the cluster. Okay, now my cluster is closed. It will be available on the mobile application to put away cluster into the designated locations. Verify the cluster ID location. As you can see, the items are multiple and quantity is combined for my two license plates. I will review the values and confirm. Now the cluster put process will start and I will confirm it as well. Okay, my work is completed. If I go to the rich client again and onto the purchase order, 000288 was my purchase order number. I will open the detail, go to my work details, put a filter on the order ID and remove the filter from the work ID. You can see that both of my work are closed and my inventory is received on the designated location. So in this process, we have seen that how we can move multiple license plate using a cluster ID into the D365 to the designated locations. That is all for our today's video. In our next video, we will dive deep into the inbound warehouse processes in D365. Till then, stay tuned. Bye bye.